This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Hey guys, finding the perfect gift for the food lover in your life is easy. Thanks to Goldbelly. Goldbelly ships America's most iconic foods straight from world-famous restaurants right to your door. So if you want to treat someone to Joe's Stone Crab from Miami, Franklin Barbecue from Texas, or desserts from famous foodies like Ina Garten or Martha Stewart, Goldbelly has you covered with free shipping anywhere in the country. Just go to goldbelly.com and for a limited time, get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's promo code GIFT.
Police responded to a 911 call.
Dramatic video of gun insanity in the Bronx.
Police releasing a new video of a person that they are still trying to track down.
Defund the police is not the answer.
Many people surveyed said they just don't feel safe in the city.
It's a shooting outside of a store.
This is Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast.
Police this morning are searching for the person who turned this Harlem platform to a crime scene.
A Red Apple Media Podcast Network production. Now, here's Bo Dietl.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Well, today I got somebody that I'm very, very impressed with. You know, I'm retired 40 years already. I retired in 1985. Somebody who's here with me today came on the NYPD, I think in 1984. And he's the commissioner of the Nassau County Police Department. Now, hold on. Let me preface this. The safest county in America. And I'm so proud that he's here. I'm more proud that I know him. He knows me for a lot of years, and he knows how much I support. And I do have a house in Nassau County, and I do pay Nassau County taxes, Suffolk taxes, and New York City. Eric Adams, I pay your taxes too. Everybody, I pay taxes. But I'm really honored to have you on board, Patrick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, the big question is, how did you do this? Because in New York City, I'm very close with Eric Adams. I've been supporting him for the last 20 years financially in every way. But we had the problem in New York City with a city council of a bunch of liberal assholes, and I could curse on my show because that's exactly what they are. Hey, and when you got the head of the city council who oversee the police was one of the Central Park Five. I know they didn't get convicted of raping a girl, but they were wilding. My ex-partner Mike Sheehan investigated. Linda Fairstein was the DA. Told me all about it. These guys were out there beating people up, robbing, but they didn't sexually have they didn't have intercourse with her. Okay, they left her, and then this little idiot come by. He ends up raping her. The DNA's in her, and then all of a sudden they release him out of jail. Check this one, Pat. They got $50 million, $10 million each, Pat. And now he's the head of the city council. I have to laugh, overseeing the police department. None of this makes sense, but I like to focus on my county of Nassau, being that my children are there and everybody. How the hell did you do this?
Well, we are very fortunate, one, to have a great county executive in Bruce Blakeman. Mm-hmm. I know Bruce is a friend of yours.
Yes.
He's been on the show before. Great leader, supports. Our legislative body supports the men and women in law enforcement. It is predominantly 12 to 6, I believe the number is, 12 to 7. It's Republican to Democrats. But across that board, they all support us because they believe in common sense. They believe in doing the right thing. They believe in law and order and making sure we're taking care of the people.
No, and they want. I mean, you guys showed it, and you gave us a little of your flavor with Keyshawn when she came over. To me, she was a great police commissioner if she could have been the police commissioner. We know all about politics. That's one thing you don't have breathing down your throat. With Bruce Blakeman, our county executive, who supports you 100%. It's a wonderful thing. Whatever you do, he's supporting you. That she didn't have in New York. She, besides battling the mayor, wanting to do what he wants to do with his little gang of people. They're all gone now. They all left the sinking ship a long time ago. But I met with Keyshawn many times. I was very impressed with her. it just was unbelievable that she couldn't be the police commissioner she wanted to be and do what she wanted to be. And that's just a reflection to you. She was your chief of detectives, am I correct?
I promoted Keyshawn 3 times. She ran my professional standards unit. I made her 1, 2, 3-star chief. She came in, she ran the detective division perfect. No problems, like a true professional. Called me the day she was leaving for the NYPD. I got the call. It was heartbreaking to see her leave, but I consider the NYPD one of the greatest police departments in the world. It's sometimes the leadership gets clouded. Her vision saw the future of where it was going, and she said, it's time for me to leave.
Yeah.
And that's why she's
left. Over there with my friend Steve Cohen. I'm sure he's taking well care of her. Steve's a friend of mine, and his wife Alex, good friends of mine. But the most important thing is, like, even when we looked at the migration of these, let's separate it. I'm not talking about migrants. I'm talking about criminal migrants. I'm talking about criminal illegals. You know, you have a lot of people that work very, very hard, and people who work I would like them to go the right way, but I'm not upset with people that want to work hard. And God knows I live out in the Hamptons there, and there's a lot of people doing work out there where other people don't want to do it. So there's room as long as you work hard, pay taxes, and you conduct yourself like that. I have no problem with that, the criminal element. Now, right. when we had the influx of these little punks, this MS-13, and now this, I can't even say it, the Venezuelan gang, Wuka, what do they call that?
Trinidad.
I'm glad you could say it, because I really don't give a shit about saying it. You know, I just was appointed by the president on the Homeland Security Advisory Council to the President of the United States. President Trump just appointed me, and I'm very proud of that.
The TDA's in trouble.
Well, all I could say is that I like Holman, and I know him a long time. We used to be on Fox together, and I'm going to be going to Washington. Put it this way. I still got a lot of energy. I just did 90 push-ups this morning. I got a lot of energy, Pat, and I have grandchildren. I love this country. I love my community, especially my homes are in your community. Yep. You protect my grandchildren, my children, and all that, and me, because I go through there sometimes too. And, you know, it's just a wonderful thing to be in a community like Nassau and have the support you have. Now, when you work together, we have we had Tierney out there in
Ray
Suffolk
Cheney's
County.
A great DA.
Ray, great guy out there. I don't know the police commissioner that well.
Kevin's new. Kevin came from the NYPD as an inspector.
He's from the NYPD.
Yeah, he did his career in the NYPD, went to the Suffolk Sheriff's Department, worked with Errol Toulon, another great leader out in Suffolk.
I like Errol, yeah.
And then he went to now head up the Suffolk County Police Department. Kevin's a good guy. He's a good leader. Give him a chance. He's going to do a great job.
No, well, you know what I want to do? I want to get my two brothers here, being that I live in both places. Well, let's have a little dinner together. We'll put together you, me, and the Suffolk County guy. But before he was there, you guys had a really good intelligence communication. Because let's face it, these gangs weren't just geographically staying in one area. They were bouncing from Nassau County, and Suffolk County. And then you had the great support of our president, Donald Trump. That was pretty good as far as cooperation. So how did you guys cooperate together to blend in the intelligence? Because right now in New York, I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. They want to get rid of the gang intelligence databases. How in the hell do they want you to do your job without this kind of stuff? But obviously, you guys are not under the confines of these morons of the City Council of New York. So how did you guys communicate between Suffolk and Nassau?
So we had great communication. We learned something from 9/11. As you know, communications is the key to our success. We met regularly with the Suffolk County Police Department. Out came Rodney Harrison, but they also had Rob Waring, who's now their chief of department. He was the acting commissioner.
Yeah.
Doors were open, both sides. We share seats in each intelligence office, along with the NYPD, who sits in my county and sits in my intel office. Tom Galati, great leader out here in New York City when he was running the intel for the city of New York.
Yeah.
Information has to flow freely. It has to be shared. You know, we're not taking information or databases of the common citizen. Mm-hmm. You know, they have some protections of their rights, absolutely. Mm-hmm. These are criminals. They're registered in databases because they're a blood gang member, MS-13, TDA, whatever that gang association is. We should know that, because when my cops encounter them, You, the citizen, want to know that if I'm locking him up for shoplifting and he's also on top of it wanted by ICE or he's a gang member of MS-13, we want to make sure the judge knows that when they're making the decisions on it.
Yeah, and it's just such a ridiculous thing of non-communication. What is the answer? Maybe I have a small brain in my head, but what is the answer for not having all this information readily available, so this way we don't have to get a good person, a hardworking gardener out in Nassau County that's busting his ass or her ass and working hard for his family, bringing home the money for the food and all that. I don't want to deal with that. I want to deal criminal people. Public safety is so important. We had a little bit of that. I cross-reference you all the time on my investigation. I'm still a detective, in case you didn't know. We still have active cases.
Once in, never out.
And, we had a couple of things going on with these little, I use these words. I apologize to my audience, but I'm sorry. The scumbags out of Newark were coming over to my Manhasset and coming over there and stealing the cars and then bringing them back over to Newark. And we were all involved with that. And, we have a really great rapport because anybody who works with me understands one thing. I want the facts and the truth go out there. I don't want to smudge anything up. But, again, if the communication's really good, you have no communication anymore with New York. I'm laughing again. I mean, your communication with the New York City Police Department has limited a lot since the advent of this liberal aspect of what they want in this city. We have a guy running for mayor now who's an out-and-out socialist, and one of my black guys that work in my office, really good guy, he happens to be a Muslim black, and he said, I was at my house in Bedford-Stuyvesant, guy knocked on the door, and he goes, yeah, I'm running for the Zawani. Well, I don't even want to say his name. He's a piece of shit. And he goes, well, what about the police department? He goes, if Zohani, whatever his name, gets elected, they want to abolish the police department and make community affairs. I mean, this is the direction of these morons running this city. Pat, you got a great police department. If I was to go back, I'd want to go back on your police department rather than the NYPD. I'm sorry to say that, but it's so, if you can't let me do my job, we do have, and I'll be at his party tomorrow night, one of the great chiefs of detectives, Joe Kenny.
Great man. I was dinner with him a couple of weeks ago. Very good man.
I go out with him all the time. Joe is one of the best, and Joe's being honored in Great Neck at Leonard's tomorrow night, at Man of the Year, and I'll be there. I'll be opening up a cancer hospital. My partner, Jack Morris, $1 billion hospital in Robert Wood Johnson. Then I'm going to shoot back at 6 o'clock to be at Great. But Joe Kenny, I've had some cases with him. One of the last of the great breed of detectives. And you got to understand also what's going on. We used to have, I think, 7,200 detectives, all aspects. Mm-hmm. With the advent of them all leaving with all the bullshit, I think we're down to almost 3,300. My problem is this is the experience level. You can't go to college. You can't go to John Jay. Oh, yeah, I want to be a detective. No, I learned how to be a detective following the old timers and learning. And now, even with the police department, you're a lot better than the number I'm going to give you. 50% of the New York City Police Department have under 5 years. How in the hell somebody with a couple of years going to teach a new rookie coming on what you're supposed to do as far as with necessary force? And we have these stupid things from the council. Headlock, not chokehold. I used the headlock. I'm a little guy. I came on with 5'8" when I came on the police department. I had to sleep on the floor to make it. And now, all of a sudden, I used a headlock. I've arrested 1,500 felonies and all that stuff. I never killed nobody. Headlocks, what I use, a guy's 6'2", 3", you bring him down to the ground, you hold him in a headlock till you can get some help and get him handcuffed. Can't do that. As soon as you put a guy in a headlock, they start yelling, chokehold. Now what happens is you bring the case down to the DA and, officer, did you have this man in a chokehold? No, I had him in a headlock. That's a chokehold. Now we're going to get rid of that. You'll testify against this cop, and that's exactly what transpires. Yep. And that's when, now the diaphragm law, that's a good one. How do you handcuff
put the knee on the back?
We climb on the back. How do you do that?
What we're trained to do our whole lives. That's how you control the main the part of the body. The rest of it, the arms and legs are going to flail, but they can't go nowhere. And that's what we've been taught. And now he can't do it.
The diaphragm law. What are you supposed to levitate over them, drop the handcuffs, say, please put these on? The other one is, and I always said it, I'll take a 90-pound female, and if I'm trying to handcuff her, she don't want me handcuffed, I'm going to have a hard time.
Several people to go.
I'm going to have a hard time. And then they come out with this, they just stack it up. The newest one is, if someone's asking you for directions, you got to stop everything, you got to make a report on it. It just goes over,
you gotta give them a business card.
over. How is your tenure of your people in your department as far as leaving? Because New York City is bye-bye.
We have a very large influx of young kids, right? That just happened through the normal progressions of retirements. No other reason. Guys left, they did. But out in Nassau County, you do 30, 35 years before you leave. Nobody leaves at 20. Sometimes these new kids, the new millennials out there, they're looking at 20-year in retirement. I think they make a mistake.
Do they still have our Tier 2 out
Yes.
there? So number 20 out, they could go?
They can go 20 now. And they just
Wow,
passed the
'cause
bill
they
last week up in Albany. Now the city can still go now back to 20 and out.
20 out to get they're making it more palatable to get.
Correct.
They can't
Trying
get
to
nobody.
draw them
And
in.
they've lowered the standards down. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to fall off my feet. And I'm not talking about hearsay, fact. They're telling them when you go for the urine test with the marijuana, don't smoke marijuana a week before and it stays at the. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. When you came on, you had a lot of guys from Vietnam coming out that wanted to do. I was a little before. I was in the 70s, and then we had the layoffs for 75.
Lots of veterans on the job.
I fought for those guys because they had the. 1975, I think they laid 5,200 of us. I was laid off only 2 days. I still had my gun and my shield. I never turned it in because it only lasted 2 days. And then everybody says, oh, Bo, you came back. What are you worried about? What am I worrying about? These guys came from Vietnam. They got a job. We got to get them all back. Oh, stop worrying about. I worried about them. We got them all back. And you know what? To me, policing, once a cop, always a cop. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I feel about it. And whether I just met two guys out front, they honked their horn on me. They were in an SUV, not yours. And they were from the Massachusetts State Troopers. They're doing security work here. And they said, hi, Bo. We have this rapport around the country. And that was one of the things I loved, Patrick, when I was on Fox News for 12 years, wherever I went in the United States, cops were cops. I had the most respect from and I have the most respect back. It's a lifestyle. It's not, even if you retire, once a cop, you're always a cop. And many a nights driving out to Long Island, I'll see a car pulled over, single guy by himself or whatever it be, even a state trooper, and I'd pull up behind and I'm watching, and all of a sudden the guy, what do you want? I would show my badge. I said, I'm retired. I said, I just want to got your back.
Make sure you're okay.
Yeah, and and that's the way, I'm sure you are, Pat, and that's the way we will grow up.
I do it in the commissioner's car. I have my guys stop. Anytime there's a guy pulled over, you stop, and we're going to make sure he's okay.
Good.
That's what we do. You talked about the strength and the unity of the men and women in law enforcement, the respect we have for each other.
Yeah.
You kill a cop in this country, all you got to do is show up for the day of that funeral, and you'll see the strength of our police family.
Well, that was
thousands upon thousands come from all over the country.
That was one of the big issues that I've been speaking about. Every cop killer, I maybe have one left. Every cop killer's out. These are the same officers that took the job, and they had children. They never was able to have Christmas with them or grandchildren, see their grandchildren. I mean, at what point do you draw the line? We're feeling bad about that? Well, who's feeling bad? My last case was that Palm Sunday massacre. It was 1984. Yeah. 1080 Liberty Avenue, 10 dead, 8 children under the age of 12. I was part of a great task force. Bo Dietl didn't do it by himself. The nun rape, my partner and I did that ourselves. All of a sudden, the guy got convicted of 10 manslaughters. The guy's out, killing 10. I testified before the state parole board several times. These children are not able to speak out. I'll speak out. And I was retired, but I just said, I got to keep doing it. But now it's just futile. Everyone's out of jail. It's got to irk your stomach.
What irks me is those that want to judge us will not do our jobs. They want to sit there and pass judgment, everything you do, but they won't even put on the uniform for one day and walk a street. And, I was walking back in Crown Heights or in the 7-9 in Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I said, it was a earth-changing time for me, life-changing.
What the people respected you?
Oh, they were absolutely respectful. And at the end of the day, if you understand the culture, you police it better. You start to feel, okay, I got this now. And it takes time. But the same people that are sitting in and passing judgment and changing these laws and making it harder on us, they forgot what they signed up for. They signed up to serve the public as a whole, not individual little groups. And if they realized and took a step back and say, hey, is my law that I'm about to pass going to help my community or hurt my community? It's going to hurt your community. You pass laws like, my cops are all under strict rule. Unless there's a cop on the city line screaming for help, you will not go into that city without a team. And the reason being is I'm going to get judged for putting my knee on the back, which is what we teach. Wow. I'm going to get judged by putting someone in a headlock, and they're going to say it's a chokehold.
Wow.
And that's what we teach. It's all defensive tactics that we've been teaching for 100 years.
Right, and that's what I grew up and you grew up with. That's what we did. And for them to take those tools away from you, how the hell you do it?
That's exactly
There's no
right.
way of doing it. And I just, nobody wants to be a New York City cop.
There was a law they're trying to pass in Albany. It got stalled this time around, but it's going to come back just like everything else does. And they want us to no longer stop a car for a traffic infraction.
I remember that.
So if he's got tinted windows or he's got an expired inspection.
Is that still pending, that law?
It's still up there. They're still battling it around. It didn't go this time around because they're all realizing they're up for re-election, and it's not the most popular law, and probably being anti-police is not a good thing now.
Yeah.
Right? So they're all trying to come back to the middle of the road. The truth is, the laws that you put in place after the George Floyd's death, and then you went into police reform and discovery and cashless bail, that's why the crime rates went up. That's why we got it under control. And then letting the migrants crossing the border that commit crimes in our counties, they're the ones that listen, again, I work for Bruce Blakeman. We played whack-a-mole at the border. My border was the city of Queens and Nassau County. And if they came across and they were breaking the law, they got arrested. You're riding a moped that you're unlicensed. We not only gave you the tickets, we seized the moped. Yeah. We sent the message, not accepted here. Play by the rules, come here to work. Different story.
You got to be careful when you leave here. I know your car's right out front because you got to watch both ways.
I left my guy in the car
40 miles an hour, they're coming 50
Bikes
miles
everywhere.
an hour. And I'm just surprised there's not more people dead. And part of my thing is, I mean, we have an assembly, and I know, well, you're not a union guy, so I could talk against the assembly and the state senate because they're a bunch of liberal garbage cans, that little midget and the scarf lady. I don't understand one thing. Why don't you care about people's safety? And why don't you care about the regular people that want to be safe and their children being safe? And now what happens is the recidivism, is that a word?
Recidivism, yes.
You got a college, you got a master's degree. Yeah. I got a high school. So any word I say wrong, Patrick, you just tell me.
Never, sir.
Okay. No, I'm no sir. I'm Bo. Bo. I'll always be Bo. I'll never be a sir. My father was a sir. But the point is that with them being arrested over and over and over, and nobody gets this. You got a mad dog that's biting. What do you do? Just keep letting them out. And what happens is here's the answer, a partial answer. Give the judges the damn power to make a decision on the criminal record to set a real bail that this son of a bitch ain't going right back out. But no, all these judges are worrying about getting reappointed with the liberal Democrats and all. The only savior, and I'm going to say it right now, I don't know how you feel. Everybody thinks he's a clown with his red hat and all that bullshit. I know him for a lot of years. He has been out on these streets for the last 40 years. He cares about people and safety. And like I said to him, I said, Curtis, I'm talking about Curtis Sliwa. I says, you have a side shot here. If they're going to do a 4 or 5-way race, I said, I'll raise money for you. I'm actually going to go to Washington with the National Republican Committee and say, look, he's the only Republican. Let's get money behind him, splash the ads with him walking through the black neighborhood, the Hispanic neighborhoods, the Asian neighborhoods, that he is for one thing that I think is the most important thing, public safety and security for you as New Yorkers. And that's why I'm supporting him, and I'm trying to get the president to go in back of him too. Look at win, lose, or draw. He's the only candidate. The other ones are all full of crap, and we got to support, because that to me is the most. And I said to him, Curtis, if you ever pull this off, he goes, oh, boy, I'll make you a police guy. I said, no. I'm not going to be. What I will do is I will be an advisor to you to point the best that's out there that you can work with. Best with the financial sector, best with the policing, best with all the services for this city who are non-corruptible. That was where my other mayor went wrong. He brought all the clowns in there. And I know every one of them, and I don't want to get into it, but all you know, Pat, you're a detective, and I'm going to tell you something. I know where all the bodies were buried in. This was beginning of, it was a scab that was ripped off. When you have garbage around you, that's what you're going to get. Obviously, you put good people around you that don't embarrass you, and that's why they're there. And as far as administration, being that you're a CEO of the police department,
correct.
Being a CEO that you are, you must put good people around you. You don't need somebody that's going to embarrass looking for a quick buck, because that reflects on you. Am I correct?
Never lose the mission of service. Never forget that you serve the people. That's what Curtis has not lost. Curtis is always about doing right by the communities. That's why he is that.
Well, I'm open right on the air. I'm supporting Curtis Sliwa for mayor of New York City. I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry, Eric. I support Curtis Sliwa for mayor of New York. He really would put his heart and soul. And look, we'll have to move him out of that apartment with all the cats, but we'll do that. And what we could do is, and we could help him do the job. Mm-hmm. But as long as one thing we know, integrity, honesty is what he's got.
So you said something a minute ago. You said that, the county exec lets me run the department. And that he does. But that county executive is so engaged, it's no joke. Yeah. He's up at 5 a.m., he's banging my phone, asking me questions, and I'm sending him reports in the morning.
I know him 40 years.
Yeah, I know, and then he's coming back with more. And I'll say to my guys, don't you dare send me something without all the questions being answered, because he's going to ask me, and then I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to come back, and I'm not going to be happy because I got caught short on something. Yeah. But he's that kind of engaged. And that's what, politicians and in some places sign up to do the job, and they don't want to do the work. Bruce does the work. You got to put the work in. You got to put the time in.
We used to have one guy talking about a guy with Queens County. I think you may have cross-referenced him a little. Judge Brown.
Oh, Judge.
He was the district attorney. I'll never forget. He would show up every scene of every homicide. He was a little bit of a fellow. I don't think he's with us
good
anymore.
Man.
Yeah, but it was a great man. But that's a hands-on. And I'm glad to hear this about my man Bruce. Makes me feel good. And I really love what he's doing. And he would make a great governor, but if that's what he chooses to do, right now he's choosing to help the people of Nassau County. He's got to get reelected, and obviously he's my choice, and we stand by that. You're listening to Bo Dito's One Tough Podcast. Please stay tuned with this message, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Clorox Sentiva smells like lavender. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
All right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Sentiva. Available in Clorox Sentiva Lavender-Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
So basically, what we're talking about, a little bit about you, a little bit about what you did, leading up to becoming the commissioner.
So I again, 84, went on the city. 86, I rolled over to Nassau County. I worked in a local precinct, went to the plainclothes right away, and then I got into the SWAT unit, our version of SWAT. It's called BSO. I'm wearing the shirt today. Once in, never out. They always tell you the men in black, right? So I was in there for 10 years. I did some undercover narcotics work at that time, came back again, made sergeant, and then we created a intel after 9/11. I met Chauncey Parker down at Ground Zero. Great man.
I was down there.
Yeah, I saw you down there. I saw you down there.
Day one when the towers came down, with Mike Servola and I, my partner, we were down there. When I was an iron worker before I became a cop. First, I was a concrete laborer, then an iron worker on the World Trade Center. We shot down there. I always wear suits. We got dungarees from the Army Navy store, NYPD shirts. Shot down, figured we'd save people, help people. There was not too much going on. There were 2 people left, Port Authority sergeant and a cop that were in the hole. That's the ones that was saved,
Mm-hmm.
But keep going about yourself.
So I met him down at Ground Zero, and the first words out of his mouth, this is a failure of our intelligence sharing. This is the problem. And he goes, I want Nassau County to start its first intel center. We never had an intel center. Everybody kind of did their own thing. And we did. And we started off with 2, and now we have 70 people that do intel. We just invested over 30,000 square feet into our intel center with a brand new police academy, 90,000 square feet. And we just built a training village behind it under Bruce's leadership. We put a training village behind us that now it's a $14 million project. The grand opening should be in the next week or 2. And it's all about training, getting the intelligence sharing, get it going. I was the commissioner's advisor at the time. Ed Mangano was the county executive. He had a year left in his term. I was leaving. I was hitting my 32nd anniversary. I was going out the door in a week. And he called me up and says, listen, I want you to step in and be the deputy commissioner. So I went from detective sergeant.
I knew the other guy. He couldn't shine your shoes. That's all I say. Go ahead.
So I went up there, and then the commissioner at the time then has some health issues, and 3 months later he's leaving. So he goes, listen, finish it out, become the acting commissioner. So I rolled the dice. I was already ahead of the game. County Executive Laura Curran came in. She won. She was from the Democrat side, and she asked me to stay. So I stayed along with her, and then we moved on to, then County Executive Blakeman came in. And he grilled me quite hard in my little interview process.
Who the hell else would they have gotten but you? You were made out of silly pudding to be the commissioner.
He wanted me to make sure that I was getting it, what his message was, and I did. And I've been now with him. It's my 4th year with him. So I'm in my 43rd year in law enforcement and 8 years as a police commissioner. And I love the job. I love giving back. I love doing for my cops and my community.
You have great respect from everybody, and I'm proud that I live in your county, and I'm like ambidextrous. Is that a word? I'm like everywhere. Out in Suffolk, New York City, everywhere. But it's really, really great, and I think this interview really shows us some light on you, what you're really all about. But your success is proven. And if I had to become a cop today, I think I would apply for the Nassau County Police Department with you being the leader.
We take you.
Rather than the NYPD, because put it this way, I don't think I could work under the somebody having their foot on my neck. And I think with that whole, I call it the George Floyd effect, I think that took the heart and soul out of every police department all across this country.
The acts of a few took down the
how
country.
It was, look, no one wanted to see the man die, and he wasn't exactly a trophy person, but nobody wanted to see him die. But the thing was, what was allowed after that was horrific. The assaulting of police officers, beating people up, robbing, burning, nobody arrested. And then they go after a couple of cops. That was all. I think in Colorado, Denver, they actually sued the police department, got $10 million for the police department for overreacting. And then when you see what goes on even with our college campuses, with the, look, I don't want to get into politics, but what's going on there is, you have to draw the line. People are not allowed to commit crimes to get their words across. You want to demonstrate peacefully? Hey, I got my friend McCarthy, Big Jim McCarthy. He controls all the demonstrations.
Good man.
One of my dear friends, and I love to see him out there. And I mean, when he goes, I don't know if there's much that could ever fill his shoes, because he takes over these demonstrations and he's right out there, and he's fabulous. But, Patrick, I really, really want to thank you for being on this show.
My pleasure.
And this will come out next Wednesday, and I want you to watch it. And anything I could ever do for you, well, now I'm Homeland Security, whatever I am, and
you can do a lot for us.
Anything I can do, I definitely will be there for you and the county. And really, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us and having the backs of law enforcement always, and along with everybody in WABC.
Well, everybody in WABC with my man Sid loves you, and John. Everybody loves Nassau County, and Bruce Blakeman. We love you, and. Till next week, Bo Dietl's One Tough podcast, and thank you so much, Commissioner.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.